Professor Tam, Professor Leung, faculty staff, graduates, parents, guests, ladies and gentlemen. 3 weeks ago, ceremonies were held in Hong Kong and Beijing to commemorate the 150th anniversary of the birth of Dr. Tsang Yok Sing, leader of the revolution that ended the Qing dynasty and founder of the Republic of China, perhaps the only politician in modern Chinese history who is revered on both sides of the strait. Tsang Yok Sing was one of the first graduates of the Hong Kong College of Medicine for Chinese, which later became the Faculty of Medicine of the University of Hong Kong. While he was studying medicine in Hong Kong, Tsang Yok Sing spent a lot of his time going around promoting his revolutionary ideas to everybody he met. He had 4 very close friends, all young men in their early 20s, and they often met in a shop in Gough Street, owned by the family of one of them. And according to Dr. Tsang's later recounting, they talked about practically nothing but the revolution. Their revolutionary ideas became so well known to everybody that they were called the 4 bandits, not always with a derogatory note. Another member of the 4 was also a medical student in Hong Kong. And this is not the only connection that the Hong Kong medical profession had to the Chinese Revolution. The Guanghua Hospital in Kowloon was established in the year 1911, a very significant year in modern Chinese history. The opening ceremony of the hospital took place on the 9th of October that year, one day before the Double 10 uprising. At the ceremony, a very remarkable Chinese couplet, Dui Lun, was displayed. It was a rather long couplet consisting of 38 characters. I have tried a translation. The upper half of the couplet, Song Lun, goes something like, deep sufferings of the people awaken in us a national spirit to relieve our 400 million compatriots of their long-time illnesses. The lower half goes, the best physicians and drugs, Chinese and foreign, are in your hand. Rid the 20th century world of its disease. The connection between curing diseases of the individual and righting the wrongs of society was very obvious. Some historians have said that perhaps this couplet was a forewarning of the uprising that was going to happen the day after. Perhaps this connection, the close relationship between curing diseases of the sick and ridding society of its injustice, of its wrongs. Perhaps this connection is the factor which has made some medical students and members of the medical profession turn their attention to social reform. It is part, I believe, of the medical ethics. When members of the medical profession take the Hippocratic Oath, or when they make the Declaration of Geneva, don't they pledge that they will consecrate their life to the service of humanity, that they will maintain the utmost respect for human life, that they will remember warmth, sympathy, and understanding may outweigh the surgeon's knife or the chemist's drug, that they will remain members of society with special obligations to all fellow human beings. I believe it is this essence in the medical ethics that have prompted many medical students to turn their attention to social reform. After all, I think medical students are more ready to become involved in social reform and fights for social justice than, for example, mathematics students who are taught to work with cool figures. So Dr. Sun decided to give up the profession to cure individual patients for the sake of curing the country. And he was not the only physician in modern history who turned himself into a revolutionary. Jose Rizal led rebellions against Spanish colonial rule in the Philippines. Che Guevara, who may be better known to you, led the Cuban Revolution. There was a time when I used to see the face of Che Guevara every day on the chest of my, let's go colleague, long hair. I almost miss him. Both Rizal and Guevara were physicians before they became leaders of revolutions. Ladies and gentlemen, our graduates, China has indeed come a long way from the years when Sun Yat-sen studied medicine in Hong Kong. Thanks to generations of young people dedicated to the betterment of their society, the Chinese people are leading a much better life than in most parts of the past few centuries. But the quest has not stopped. The quest for a healthy society, a healthy state of society in which people can live freely without fear of any of the deep-rooted illnesses. 93 years ago, Dr. Sun Yat-sen visited the University of Hong Kong. It was a few years after the success of the revolution. He was invited by the Students' Union to make a speech in the university. And in his speech, Dr. Sun told the audience that he got all his revolutionary and modern ideas from Hong Kong. Hong Kong was the birthplace of Dr. Sun's revolutionary ideas and therefore the birthplace of modern Chinese revolution. In his speech, Dr. Sun made the remark which, by today's standards, must be politically very incorrect. He said he compared Hong Kong with things back in his hometown in Heungshan. He saw the vast difference, and so he said, he asked himself, why could the British turn a barren rock into a marvelous place like Hong Kong in less than 80 years, while the Chinese cannot, with their several thousand years of civilization? In conclusion, Dr. Sun appealed to the students to learn from the British. Historians, again, have said that without Hong Kong, Dr. Sun would not have become a revolutionary. I think it can be said that if Dr. Sun had not spent his adolescence and his early adulthood in Hong Kong, or if Hong Kong had not had a different system from that in all other parts of China when Dr. Sun stayed here, he would not have become a revolutionary. Perhaps the revolution would not have happened, and perhaps we could still have a Tsing emperor today. We could still be wearing a pigtail. Hong Kong, with its uniqueness as a part of China, with a system quite different from any other part of the country, has played an important role in the modernization of China. It will continue to play that role if it is allowed to maintain that system and if it can run it successfully. Young doctors, thankfully, I don't think any of you are going to give up your medical profession to become a revolutionary. Are you? But with your training in medical ethics, I don't think you can turn a blind eye to the instances of social injustice and their causes either. And please remember what Plato said 2.5 millennia ago, and I quote, "One of the penalties for refusing to participate in politics is you end up being governed by your inferiors." I think perhaps Professor Leung was thinking of this when he decided to join the government 8 years ago. But unfortunately for the government, Professor Leung left after 3 short years and returned to this faculty. Today, looking at so many young men and women ready to join the medical profession, I have no doubt Professor Leung made a wise decision. So, graduates, it's a great privilege and a pleasure for me to be here to share your joy and the joy of your parents. Let me congratulate all of you on your academic professional achievement and wish you all a most rewarding career. Go to the people with your knowledge, your skills, your heart. Help them to free themselves of their sufferings, wherever those sufferings may come from. Primum non nocere. Thank you.